Greetings and welcome to Unit 3. In this week's unit, we're going to be discussing learning objectives. By the objective writing assignment due date, learners will be able to state 3 purposes of learning objectives, state and provide 1 to 2 sentence descriptions of the 3 domains for learning, integrate Bloom's taxonomy into objective writing as demonstrated by the ability to create 3 SMART Bloom's taxonomy objectives. We will be discussing knowledge and or skills to be gained. The learner will understand the importance of the objectives being written that are student-centered and or learner-focused versus instructor-focused. And you will understand how writing learning objectives help the instructor as well as the learner. So when we discuss objective writing, it's very important to mention Bloom's taxonomy. Benjamin Bloom developed the listing of how to appropriately write goals in an objective manner. And within Bloom's taxonomy, there are 3 domains of learning. This includes cognitive, psychomotor, affective. There is an original Bloom's taxonomy list, and then also in the YouTube lecture within this unit, you will see that there has been a revised and or updated taxonomy list. Within Bloom's taxonomy, there are a hierarchy of levels. The levels are the basis for the objectives. The verbs within each level are used to create objectives, and the verb should not be the title of the level. So when we first look at the cognitive domain, we begin with lower order thinking skills and then progress with higher order thinking skills. So we start out with remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and then creating. Within Bloom's taxonomy cognitive domain, we are asking the student to remember, to recall learned information, to understand, which is to comprehend a meaning, and then lastly applying, and that is using material in a different situation or way. Also, we're asking the student to analyze, and this is to separate information to understand relationships and structure. We're asking the student to evaluate, which is making judgments, and then to create, which is putting information together to make something new. The next domain is the psychomotor domain, and this is how movement, labor, manual, business, social, communication skills are developed. And again, there are original and revised versions of the psychomotor domain, and these were developed by E.J. Simpson. So just like in the cognitive domain, we start out with a lower order and progress to a higher order. We start with perception, go to set, guided response, mechanism, complex or overt response, adaptation, and then finally origination. In Simpson's psychomotor domain, perception is sensory cues to guide the motor activity. Set is the readiness to act. Guided response is early stages of learning a complex skill. And then mechanism is intermediate stage of learning a complex skill. Complex or overt response is a skillful performance of complex movement patterns. And then adaptation is to modify the movement. And then origination is to create a new movement pattern. So you can see within this domain, this is something that we certainly can utilize on a clinical basis when we establish our goals for our patients. The next domain is the affective domain. Starting at lower order, going to higher order, receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization by a value set. So in receiving, it's a willingness to pay attention. Responding is reacting to a phenomenon. And then valuing is attaching a worth or value. Organization is building a value system, and characterization by a value set is adhering to a value set. So let's do an example. We have Jenna. She's a 50-year-old female librarian. She has wrist osteoarthritis. She reports pain and difficulty with her work activities. So her education needs are ergonomics and joint protection. She has no previous knowledge. So in objective writing steps, number one is first we need to determine which domain. And secondly, we need to determine which level within that domain. And thirdly, select an appropriate verb from within that level. Jenna will state the components of an ergonomic workstation, cognitive domain, remembering level. Remember, we need to establish SMART objectives. SMART is specific, M is measurable, A is attainable, R is relevant, and T is time-bound. So let's try again. Jenna will state at least 3 components of an ergonomic computer station within one treatment session or participating in an education session on a computer ergonomics. And then let's look at a psychomotor example. By her 4th treatment session, Jenna will demonstrate the ability to correctly utilize the instructed ergonomic technique without queuing to place books on high shelves 70% of the time. And this is the mechanism category. An effective example, by her 3rd treatment session, Jenna will explain the importance of proper ergonomics by listing at least 2 personal or professional benefits for practicing good ergonomics, and that's valuing. One last thing to note, common implied components, measurable. Oftentimes you'll see passing a course or passing a fieldwork assignment or demonstrating a skill. Remember, they need to be time-bound. By the end of the fieldwork assignment, by the end of the course, by the end of the lecture. SMART objectives are required. And these are the references for today's lecture. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to reading and receiving your SMART objectives for this unit's assignment. Thank you.